I think the great thing about photography and video and stuff like that, or just art, or a photo, let's just call it photo, light, is trying to share everything with everybody. This is kind of cool. So even for a while I was shooting 360 footage, which is awesome, but right now the problem with shooting 360 footage is actually it just takes a little bit too long to stitch. So the technology is good, but it just takes a little bit too long. So yo, check out this tree, right? It's my new favorite tree. Isn't that beautiful? So it seems like in photography and life and stuff like that, I don't know, maybe one of the great things we could do is just share with others the awesome, beautiful things that we see and witness. And so this is actually one of the things I've been really enjoying about shooting these videos, vlogs. Okay, first and foremost, it kind of gives me an excuse to go on a walk. And I love fresh air, I love nature and stuff like that. And it gives me a chance to just kind of clean my mind. And now that the city is actually quite empty, for me it's great because I could kind of focus in my Zen zone, on my Zen throne, focusing on my Zen dome, right? So I got the mental Zen chrome and the mental T-bone. So anyways, so things for me have actually been pretty good in the sense that, you know, actually now I have more time to think, to reflect and meditate, and just to enjoy nature. So now that spring is upon us, I don't know, I just think that right now is a good chance for us to just walk around, enjoy nature, like observe things like little, see that little nest? Maybe by some sort of bird somewhere. And the funny thing is I've been realizing, you know, so I've been living in Providence for a few months now. There's so many things I never ever noticed before, and then once you notice things, you can actually appreciate it. Like, wow, that's so beautiful, and you're so happy and grateful. And just focusing on small things, like kind of like that still life, that little thing there, my little selfie there. And now that it's a lot quieter, yeah, certainly I could focus on my own thoughts and share them with you. So yeah, I think right now life is beautiful. It's the spring is blossoming. Okay, so another thought I had. So this thought is about thinking beyond. So obviously right now we're going through COVID and it's really bad, but we're gonna make through it. We're gonna make it through together, and we're gonna essentially, you know, cure it or get a quarantine with a vaccine or whatnot. And so sooner or later this too will pass, right? And I think it's very important for us to think about things which are evergreen, which means, you know, like the notion of evergreen tree is that what you're talking about today and right now will still be relevant, you know, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years from now. So even reading the ancient epics from these heroes, hearing about their emotions and stuff like that, it's so real and it sticks, right? Kind of like this shadow right here. And so even for myself, so right now obviously I'm caught up in COVID and thinking about COVID and life during, after COVID. But the downside of that is, you know, once life is moved on and we've kind of gone beyond COVID, then I don't know, I think a lot of the essays and videos and stuff that people are writing about might not have that much of an impact, but at the same time though, it is kind of interesting insofar much as we are going through an interesting moment in history. And I think kind of like Thucydides and the history of the Peloponnesian War, society will be fundamentally different after this. But anyways, so thinking beyond, what does it mean to think beyond? So for me, it essentially means don't worry too much about your life because your life is short, and think long. So there's a saying by Seneca, he actually quotes it from, I think Hippocrates or somebody, is like, life is short, like vita brevis, ars longa, and art is long. And the basic notion is our lives are short, but the artwork and the things that we create will last for a long time. And ours is interesting because it's not just it's just not like paintings like art, right? It's like, even actually if you think about historically, right? Before painters were the poets, the bards and the oral poets, and even before writing was speech and speaking. So this is actually why I actually prefer to talk than to write. Like, I only like, even for me to write and blog, it's almost by necessity, because there's some thoughts which are just a little bit difficult to explain orally. And actually writing is interesting because it's kind of meta thinking, where you exercise different forms of your thinking faculties when you write versus when you talk. But ultimately for me, I think I prefer speaking. And I like looking at clouds. So yeah, so essentially what I mean to say is, when you think about your art, essentially I kind of like the Latin word opus, O-P-U-S, which literally means work. Like, it could be a work of art, a work of anything. It could be a dance, it could be a thing. So they talk about magnum opus, which is great work. So the Iliad, the Odyssey are both magnum opuses. It's funny too, because generally artists don't have more than one magnum opus, but I guess in the case of Homer, he had two. But I don't know, even getting too caught up on the notion of a magnum opus is not so beneficial either, because who knows, maybe Homer created like 1,000 poems and those are the only two which existed. So my general thought on that is, make as many artworks as you can during your lifetime, things that you care about and you're interested in, and keep evolving, keep creating, and let the future historians and art historians kind of decide. Because once you're dead, whatever. And it's very difficult to know with precision what will last, what won't last. So in terms of even music, right? So I love rap music, and one of my favorites is Jay-Z. And I think his 3 best albums of all time is Reasonable Doubt, you know, The Blueprint, and Black Album. And so these 3 have lasted, and I don't know, it's difficult at the time when you create it, you know, if it's gonna last or not. But certainly things that I think the more soul and the more honesty and the more realness you put into your artwork, the more likely it is to survive. And remember, friends, our goal in life is longevity. Alright, isn't that cool? This tree, this post, it grew around it. Trees are the best.